Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 2019 Beach Preseason Vendor Meeting. I'm Brian Kellenberger, Director of Beach Operations. Appreciate your time this afternoon. Before we get started, a few rules. If you got a phone or any other device, if you'll put it on silence, I'd appreciate it. If you need to take a phone call or talk to your neighbor, if you can take it outside, we'd appreciate that as well. During the meeting, we'll have some questions and comments. At the end, we'll basically be an open forum. So there may be some differences of opinion in the room, and so everybody respect your other guest members' opinions or comments. So getting started, the purpose of the meeting is to talk about what our department and the other departments that work on the beach expect out of the vendor industry on the beach. It's also an opportunity for y'all to ask questions, to have a better understanding of the code, the permitting process, the daily operations on the beach, and all that. So getting started, a few introductions. Tricia Goff is with our Beach Code Enforcement Department. Melanie Walters handles all of our permitting. Josh Irvin is our Beach Maintenance Manager. John Callens is Beach Ambassador. Sammy Sanchez is South Walton Fire District Fire Marshal. David Vaughn with South Walton Fire District. He's in charge of the lifeguard program. Lieutenant Adam Falk with Walton County Sheriff's Office, and Lieutenant Johnny Jordan. They are the commanders in this on this side of the bay, and they'll be giving, all these people will be helping us with our presentation today. I don't see Jay in the room. Usually Jay's here. He's our executive director, but he's not here today. So a few new staff members. Some of you may have met them. They were they are Cheryl Corsten and Kaylee Goodman. They're two beach ambassadors that joined our team last year. And if you see them out on the beach, welcome them to the operations. Updates with beach operations. The big thing is code revisions. This year we have not made it through that process. There is a public workshop on January 23rd at 9 a.m. in this room, and that'll be a public workshop for the Board of County Commissioners to take in more public input. I highly encourage all those concerned and that may be affected by any of the beach-related code revisions to be at the meeting, to observe, hear, and offer input where you see appropriate. If you go to the agenda for the December 11th meeting, there's a document under our tab that's called Beach Code Revision Recommendations. And in there is the most of the sections that made it through the previous sub-advisory committee meetings and the Tourist Development Council meeting. And in there it has the code section and the action that was taken by those different committees. And so you can get an idea of what has been out there or been talked about and what may be possible code revisions. It doesn't mean that that is the inclusive list. There could be some that are added to that. But it gives you a good idea of what the Board of County Commissioners will be reviewing, as well as any public meeting. They may take in some input from that meeting that's added to that. And so the way the process works is we have that public workshop, and they may or may not give my department and Walton County Legal Department direction on which sections to draft language for. More than likely that will come at the next Board of County Commission meeting, which is February 12th, I believe. Is that the second Tuesday? Yeah. And that'll be in this room again at 4 p.m. on the 12th, February 12th. At that meeting, if we receive the direction, then Sydney and I will work on the draft language and present it at the next meeting, which would be 2 weeks later. So the second meeting in February, and then they would set a public hearing as well. And so that would probably come in the 1st of March sometime. Maybe a special meeting, but it's more than likely would be tied to a regular meeting. At that point, the sections that they have chosen to consider would be adopted, and it would become county code, and that's when it would go into effect. So some of them do affect vending. A lot of the ones that are up right now are also affect general use of the beach. So be aware of that. All this information can be found on the best place to find it is on the county's website on their agenda page. So if you go to the Walton County Online, you'll see a tab that says agendas. You go to that, it takes you to a menu of all the meetings. and you go to that particular meeting, you can look at the agenda and the items. And it's usually posted the Thursday before the meeting. Or you can contact our office, and we'll be glad to share the information with you as well. All righty, beach vending permit process. So in your package here is all of our contact information for the people that work in our department. That's on the third page back. The next page after that is contact information for different agencies that work on the beach. So it's a good resource to have if you need those people's services. Our process is just like it was last year. We have applications for the different types of vendors. There's a checklist in here of the items that you'll need to submit your application. I encourage you to get all the information together at one time, present it to our staff. Like I say, Melanie and Trish are handling the beach vending permitting. The more accurate, the more complete the information, the quicker the application gets processed, and get you into business, or get you through this department anyway. One of the changes we're making is the insurance, and and you'll get an email. All the registered vendors will get an email, and we'll also add it to the application. Is adding a second certificate holder. So right now, you're required to list the Board of County Commissioners as certificate holder, and it has an address up in Defuniak. And sometimes there's a delay in us receiving the certificates, and more importantly, any changes to that insurance. And so we'll add our department with our address down here on Highway 83, and that way they'll come straight to us. It's a way to streamline the process. I don't believe it should cost you any additional cost for your insurance, so be aware of that. But it'll be laid out on the application. Beach driving permits, due to the House Bill 631, which was the statute passed by the Florida legislature last year that preempted customary use. That was one of the components. The other component is it strengthened private property laws. And so the legal department has advised us that we cannot issue any drive on the beach permits to, like we used to do at the start of the season and the end of the season, or in the event of a storm, for you to get your gear off the beach. So unless you have a site-specific permit that has direct access to the beach, we will not be issuing any drive on the beach permits. To those locations that do have direct access to the beach, in other words, they have a drive-on point on the specific piece of property, we'll issue drive-on permits for that. So be aware of that, because it causes more effort on your part to get equipment on and off the beach. The actual beach equipment and the storage boxes and stuff like that. We started taking permits Monday, and we'll be taking them all the time until we get everybody satisfied. So like I say, make sure you get them in accurate and as soon as you can, and we'll get them turned around as quick as we can. If you got any questions about the process, Tricia or Melanie, their emails and phone numbers are in the package here. Feel free to call them and ask me any questions. Of course, we'll take questions here. Is there any questions about permitting this time? Okay, if you think of one, yes, sir. Right, no, just certificate holder. And so typically insurance companies do not charge extra for that. It just simply puts us in the notification loop. Whereas Board of County Commissioners is the people that, they own everything in the county. All right, and so they own the land that is, most of this is for. Actually, that's not a requirement of the code, but most insurance companies don't. Depends on how you've bought your policy, but certificate holder does make us get notified in the event there's a change in your policy, 30 days in advance, and it also would get the initial certificate to us quicker. Okay. All righty. So with that being said, we'll turn it over to Walton County Sheriff's Office so they can give you their presentation about what they expect.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Lieutenant Jordan, and this is Lieutenant Adam Falk. My district is District 4, which is going to be everything east of 393. and Lieutenant Falk has everything west of 393. We are the district commanders, and we're here to help you with big issues and long-term issues. Business this year is going to go just the same as last year. We're going to have a zero tolerance policy throughout spring break. And in the next coming months, we're also working to implement another more bike patrol units to put out to help us. One of the things that I would like to ask out of you vendors is that if problems arise, please call dispatch. I know sometimes we get heated, but what we ask of you is to take a breath, step away, and call us and let us help you out before anybody does anything that we can't take back. All right, we're here to help you work through your problems, whether it be with citizens, employees, homeowners, whatever your issue is. Please call us and let us help you. We prefer to get involved in things before things get out of hand, and most things are easily fixable once you take our passions out of it, right? That's pretty much all I have. If you have any questions of us, we're going to stay after the meeting for a little bit, and you can come and talk to us. We'll also give you our numbers, our personal numbers. But like I said, immediate issues, make sure you contact dispatch. We also got multiple road supervisors, sergeants out on the road. If you feel that the deputies that respond just aren't handling it, you can also call and ask for a road supervisor. They'll come out and they will absolutely take care of your needs for you the best that they can. All right? Thank y'all.
Good afternoon. My name is David Vaughn. I'm the South Walton Fire District Beach Safety Director. I'll try and keep this brief. Our mission is to prevent drowning out there, and we share with you, the vendors, the need to keep people happy and safe. So you guys have historically been a very good resource for us. You've been very helpful, and we aim to reciprocate that. So my quick answer to should we ever go into the water, when in doubt, call it out. Dial 911. Don't call our lifeguards direct. If you know, a lot of the guys get out there and they start talking to each other and they get to know the guards in their area. If something's going down, don't dial them direct. Just pick up the phone, dial 911, give them your location, and then you can reach out to that guard who's nearest you. As to whether or not we expect you to have you or your personnel go out for any emergency, whether it's water related or medical related, no, we don't. I see some familiar faces, former guards. We know that you're more than capable. I know that some of you vendors have guards who are either working for us or who have worked for us before. We don't expect you to put yourself or anybody else at risk. Should you choose to do so, you will have our support, and we do thank you for the past contributions you've made, but we still implore you to take the safe route, leave it up to us. We are spread out over the 26 miles. Our jurisdiction and our locations is limited to the regional beach accesses. We do respond to calls on all 26 miles. Sometimes that means on some of the private properties and some of the more, for instance, between our Tower 3, which is at the Rosemary area, and Bramble Grove, there's almost 7 miles to cover. Granted, that's a lot of smaller private residences and whatnot, but there are some gaps in coverage for which we now have 13 rovers, and so we do conduct patrols. We haven't been affected by House Bill 631 yet. We haven't really received many objections from the private landowners. We're trying to navigate that so that we can still traverse during normal business, just to conduct our patrols in times where we aren't responding to emergencies. So that remains to be seen, but we don't anticipate that we're going to get too much pushback from that. So again, when in doubt, call it out, but we're going to be around. So our season starts this year, March 1st. We are going to be going through October 31st with our full staffing. Our full staffing usually includes up to 33 people per day. Now from November through February, we're also going to have some limited coverage out there with an additional 5 guards that we're adding to our command staff. So we will have year-round coverage. I know that some of you do carry on into the shoulder season. We're going to be out there for that. My number is in your packet. That is my cell phone. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. I'm the guy you can be mad at. If you don't like the flag color, don't call TDC and complain to them. You can call me direct, and we can have a discussion about it. I get a lot of those every year. If you have any other questions or concerns, call me, text me, email me, all right? I try to be very accessible to you guys. So as I said, we're located at the regional beach accesses. There's 10 towers. We also have 2 private contracts at Rosemary and at Sandestin. We are adding 2 more jet skis this year, so we're going to have one over in the Sandestin area and one over in the Rosemary Beach area, in addition to our Bramble Grove and our Ed Walleen locations. We do get about an even split between medical calls and water rescue type situations. As you guys know, with 4 million people on the beaches every year, statistics just dictate we're going to have medical events out there. Same thing applies. Dial 911. We don't expect you to, also reach out to us if you guys want to get some BLS training. We're going to be offering some of that in case, I know some of the larger companies, they do require some medical training for their guys. If you have any questions or concerns about that, reach out to me, all right? That's really about all I got for you. In order to save a little bit of time, any questions or concerns, just reach out to me. Send my numbers in here. Thank you.
Well, whatever time Dave made up for, I'm going to blow it, so I apologize in advance. My name is Sammy Sanchez, Fire Marshal, South Walton Fire District, and I oversee the bonfire permitting, in case you're wondering why I'm here. I've got a couple of items that I want to go over. Before we get to bonfires, I want to talk a little bit about fireworks. They're still illegal. They've been illegal for as long as I've been a firefighter. It's not a South Walton statute. It's not a North Walton statute. It's not even a Walton County statute. It's a state statute, State Statute 791. It lists everything that's legal and everything that's illegal. Basically, in a nutshell, anything that explodes, anything that launches into the air or goes boom is considered an illegal firework. And for you wedding vendors, that also includes sky lanterns. I know they're beautiful. I've seen Tangled 100 times. It's really cool, but they're still illegal. In Tangled, yeah, I got granddaughter, sorry. So it's propelled by flame, and that language is in there. That's considered an illegal firework. So if you have customers they're adamant about using it and you don't want to be the bad guy, you can call me at the office. I've practiced that speech several hundred times. So anyway, keep that in mind. All fireworks, they're listed in Florida Statute 791, which leads me to July 4th. If you've been down on the beach on July 4th, the Sheriff's Department understands this. It's sort of a nightmare for somebody like me because it's hard to control the fireworks that are coming into town. So the only fireworks that are legal, the only fireworks shows that are legal are the ones that are permitted through my office, the ones that I put my signature on. And you have to have certain criteria. You have to have a low explosive ATF license. You have to have insurance. You have to pay a fee. You have to have, there's so many things you have to submit to us for us to review to say yes or no. And there's only a few places in South Walton that really have pyrotechnic shows, but those are typically all permitted. If it's a guy from Alabama and he stopped by Buddy's and picked up $500 worth of fireworks, I promise you it's an illegal fireworks show. He didn't get a permit from me. With that said, the July 4th, if you're a bonfire vendor, you're probably asking yourself, why is July 4th always blacked out? Well, because of that. Because it's so hard to control the amount of fireworks that are on the beach, we don't want to add to that chaos already. So until something changes, unfortunately for us, July 4th will probably be blacked out for some time. I don't foresee it opening until the fireworks issue is resolved a little bit, but that's usually the only time that I will tell you in advance that bonfire permits will not be issued, and that is for July 4th. Barring weather conditions, you can go ahead and mark that on your calendar, July 4th. No bonfires will be permitted. All right, so on to bonfires. We have 2 customer service specialists that take your calls, take your emails, and process your bonfires permits. One is Julie Clark. She was here at the last meeting. And the other one is Lori Brown. Lori, please stand up so everybody can see your smiling face. These are the ladies that you're talking to when you're trying to process a bonfire permit. And understand that they work under my charge, so if they're telling you one thing, it's probably coming from my office. So it doesn't help to get in arguments with them. If you want to talk to me, that's fine. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. But typically what they're telling you is pretty accurate. So bonfires issued. Last year we issued 144 annual permits. And then we also issued 3,425 temporary permits. That's why I have 2 ladies issuing permits for me. So what I can tell you is out of all those bonfire permits, I received very little negative feedback from the TDC. The TDC they do a very good job in enforcing these permits, and anytime anyone is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, I get notified. And I can tell you, Brian and I are pretty much in constant communication throughout the year when it comes to bonfires. I didn't get a lot of complaints, so really that's a credit to you and what you're doing out there. I think in the beginning when we started this whole process, me and Brian were talking a lot more than we wanted to, in particular about vendors that weren't doing the right thing, but that has seemed to slow down, and I appreciate what you folks do, so thank you very much. Currently, we are renewing all annual permits to ensure that owners and properties match up. And basically what that means is if you're a vendor and you've been doing bonfires for Mrs. Smith on 30A for 10 years, and she sold the property, and now the new owner doesn't want bonfires, we're the ones that will tell you, hey, she sold the property and the new owners don't want it. So that's what these ladies are doing right now. In the beginning of the season, they're asking folks, do you want to renew your annual permit? And believe it or not, a lot of them still want to, but then there's always those that say they don't, or it's under new HOA management and they don't want to do it anymore. So if we tell you that you're no longer allowed there, it's for a reason. We're also currently working on our automated bonfire procedure. It's in trial mode. I know last year I sat here and told you that we were working on that. We're a step closer. Basically, what this will allow is it will enable you to apply for a bonfire permit from the comfort of your home 24/7, weekends included. You won't have to call Lori or Julie once the system is up and running. We hope to roll that out at some point this year, but I'll be honest with you, they start talking all that IT tech stuff and it just, so I'm lost. I don't have any idea when it's going to happen, but I hope that it happens this year. One thing that will also be being looked at very closely is what I'm being told, is how you start these bonfires. If you'll look at your bonfire guidelines that we provide, it's pretty specific about how you can start these. And flammable liquids such as lighter fluids, gasoline, diesel fuel are strictly prohibited. So if you've been using those, you're going to need to rub two sticks together. I don't know. You have to come up with a different way to start these. But that's going to be being looked at very closely. Next thing is replying to my emails. I know I send out a few emails throughout the year. So if you're not receiving those or you're new to the game, please ensure that we have your appropriate contact information. As much as I'd like to send emails weekly just to see how you're doing, unfortunately, you probably don't want to read them, and unfortunately, I don't have the time. But when I do send emails, it's because there's some important information that we need to get across. And what I'm finding is I'll send them out, but I get nothing back. So I just want to make sure that you're still out there and that we have your appropriate information. In particular, when we're shutting down an area for whatever reason, that's how we're going to notify you. That along with our social media. So if you don't follow us on social media, this is a shameless plug. Please follow us because we do put out that information regarding bonfire suspensions. Help us help you. Please don't wait till the end of the day to submit for 25 bonfire permits. It puts a strain on these ladies, and then they got to come to my office and ask them that they can stay over, and it gets ugly. I get ugly around 4:25, don't I? Yeah, something like that. Actually, what it does, it just delays that process, and then they're trying to process your bonfire at 6 o'clock at night. It's not fair to them. So, and it's not fair to code enforcement because they're already on the beach and they need to know where they're going. So, please, if you can help it, don't wait till the end of the day to submit, for numerous bonfire permits. And finally, if you need a list of the public beach accesses where bonfires are allowed, please contact our office. You can reach us at 267-1307. We will be more than happy to provide that list for you. And keep in mind, bonfires are a privilege. We're one of two counties that I'm aware of. Bay County started issuing bonfire permits last year. I'm not sure to what extent. What I can tell you is they are issuing them, but they are a privilege. And if we don't follow the rules and do what we're supposed to be doing, that privilege can go away. And I know some vendors, that's their bread and butter. That's how they make their living. And we're not trying to keep you from making a living. Well, all we're asking you is just follow the rules, do things right. And again, back to that number, 3,000. That's a lot of bonfires. And not a lot of complaints. So that tells me everybody's doing the right thing. And I just ask that we continue moving on to 2019. And that is all I've got. Entertain any questions at this time? All right, thank you, folks. Look forward to a great 2019.
I'm going to be taking Matt Allens with State Park System and Matt McGarry with South Walton Turtle Watch's section tonight. Vendor operations in the state park, limited basis per the same rules they had last year. And those rules are, if you're going to deliver equipment to a person, you're able to do that. This is at Grayton Beach State Park and Deer Lake, not at Topsail. You can do that. You have to meet the person there, and you have to come pick up the equipment when they're ready to leave. If any more questions about that, Matt Allen can be found at the State Park System, and he can answer any particular questions. His name, contact info is in the booklet. South Walton Turtle Watch, they are our turtle monitoring program provider, and so they're the people that walk the beach every morning during turtle season and clear the beaches. So the code reads that you can set up your equipment after the turtle text or 7:30 a.m. during turtle season, whichever comes first. So the turtle texting program is outlined in your book here. Make sure that you and any of your employees that are going to be setting up equipment on the beach are included in this texting program. It's fairly easy. You sign up for it, you get the text when they get the beaches cleared, and then you're allowed to set up your equipment. So be aware of that. If you encounter a live or a dead turtle, Matt McGarry is the person to contact. If you can't get him, Sharon Maxwell, and their numbers are contained in here too. I'd appreciate it if you'd include that information with the people that work with you, and also contact our office, 267-4578. If you don't get a person on the phone, just leave a message. Usually we're the people that go out and help get the turtles off the beach, be they live or dead, and so I'd like to have the same notice that they get. If you encounter an unmarked nest, same process, Matt McGarry or Sharon Maxwell, and also contact our office. And like I say, if you can't get a person, you can leave a message with approximate location on the beach, geographically as well as approximate in that specific area of the beach. Any questions about those two areas? Okay, appreciate it.
How you doing? My name's John Callens. I'm one of Walton County Tourism Development Council's beach ambassadors. We have 3 permanent beach ambassadors for the 2019 season. We're going to also employ 2 seasonal beach ambassadors. Beach ambassador is essentially an information specialist on the beach. We provide information about water conditions, beach conditions. If a visitor is interested in the amenities street side, we'll tell them where restaurants are, other things to do besides being on the beach. We also will help you guys out in providing y'all with information. If you got any questions about anything, if you got concerns, issues, you can come to us. We'll help you get those resolved. There is also a volunteer beach faction, which is similar in nature. They're more part-time. They don't cover quite the entire beach that we cover, but they also help pick up trash and help keep the beach clean as well. As I said, we're information specialists essentially, so if you have any questions or anything about the beach ambassador position, I'll take those after the meeting's over with. And at this time, I'll introduce Josh Irving, who is our Director of Beach Maintenance on the beach.
Good evening. I, too, will try to be brief. I just want to make you all aware of some operational changes for this upcoming year. Our schedule has changed, so we're going to be starting our beach collection at 5 in the morning instead of 6. So that gets us out there a little earlier and not out there in the middle of the day when all the beachgoers are there. Trash collection changes. So as Brian indicated earlier, House Bill 631 has certainly had an effect on our ability to provide that service. So we're not going to have any collection from the following locations on the beach: between Paradise by the Sea and the east side of Deer Lake State Park, the western end of Eastern Lake Road to the east side of Grayton State Park, the west side of Grayton State Park to Blue Lake Road, the eastern side of Topsail State Park to Hilltop Drive, and then from Sand Trap Road to Geronimo Street. So any of the locations where we had a bag holder that was on private property, we will no longer be collecting that from the beach. All of the neighborhood beach accesses and regional beach accesses that we have in between those areas I just mentioned, we will certainly continue to collect those just from the top side, not from the beach side. Additionally, with House Bill 631, we're no longer collecting leave no trace items. Those are the items that were left on the beach overnight that were deemed abandoned. So basically what we're doing with that is just removing those items from public beaches only. So if you see items left on the beach overnight, more than likely it's at a private location that we are unable to access. Additionally, holes on the beach. Historically, we have filled holes on private beach. We're no longer going to be doing that, so we're going to be focusing those efforts primarily at our public beach access locations. Let's see here. Bonfire debris, that continues to be a problem. I like to think that it's not the vendors that are using the actual bag holders to discard their bonfire debris. I would like to think that it's the average public that's doing that, or at least I hope so. If you are, in fact, using those bag holders, please do not do that for obvious reasons. Let's see here. Brian indicated earlier, if you have any questions, you can call our office. You will notice when you call our main number, 267-4578, we have an auto attendant. So just to kind of get you through the process, if you press 2, it'll take you to code enforcement. If you press 3, it'll take you straight to beach maintenance. Both of those extensions or options have voice messaging capability, so feel free to leave a message. We will certainly get back to you. And then lastly, if you call beach maintenance, more than likely you're going to hear a new voice. We have a new admin assistant. Her name is Kenya Johnson. So that's all I have. Do y'all have any questions as far as beach maintenance is concerned? All right. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate everybody's attendance tonight. Keep on your calendar the January 23rd meeting for code revision, important meeting to come to, and then the subsequent meetings after that that will pertain to beach code revisions. Package has all the information you need, and if there's something that's not in here, contact Trish or Melanie or me if it pertains to beach maintenance, Josh Irvin. Is there any questions or comments at this point that we can? Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll share with you the map. So we have a comprehensive map that has the locations where we're not able to get garbage, and we'll send that out. Okay, it's a large map, large file, so we'll make it available. Any more questions or comments? Okay, we'll be standing around as the meeting closes. If you need to talk to us, we're here. Appreciate it.